What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the top 10 worst states to live in America in 2022. We're actually doing this intro for a second time, aren't we?
We are.
We did the intro, well, we got as far as name in the video, and I was like, oh, have we done this video before?
Rings a bell.
It rings a bell. We've just double checked. It was the top 10 worst towns we did previously, so it's the states today. So 42 states are going to survive this list.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
40
states. I always do this. 40 states are going to survive this list. Who do you think the number one worst state to live in is? If you had to guess.
I think California.
You think California?
Because I just think people are leaving. There's been a lot, like I've heard a lot of negative things about living there.
Just that narrative of people leaving and stuff. Okay. Mine would be New Orleans.
Okay.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Just because it gets a lot of hurricanes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of destruction with that, and what I've read, it's below sea level as well, so it's kind of like it just builds up. And in the terms of the stress and all that, that might be it. I'm sure it's a lovely state, but that's what I could thought. I want to visit it, and I'm sure it's amazing. But in terms of the risk,
yeah, maybe
that's why I'd put it number one, because I don't really have anything against any states. I can't bash him. But are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
get into it. The top 10 worst states to live in America. What we got?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and a video about states you don't want to move to in 2022. A couple weeks ago, we did some videos about the best states to move to or live in 2022. Those videos weren't based on any one stat or group of stats. It was our opinion based on what we've learned over the last few years of researching videos. Today, we're looking at the other side of that coin, the states you don't want to move to in 2022. If you watched our video about the cheapest states to move to a couple weeks back, you'll find a lot of these states are on both lists. The reason for that, of course, is if a place sort of sucks, nobody wants to live there. And if nobody wants to live there, it's not going to be that expensive. But you'll find a couple surprises on this list, because we're not just talking if a place sucks right now. What's the future going to be there? I mean, if you're moving someplace in 2022, you don't plan on just staying there for 2022. Hopefully, and most likely, you're going to be staying there 5, 10 years or the rest of your life. All right, let's take a look. Number 10, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard me right. I said Texas.
I always thought people were moving to Texas.
Yeah, I know quite a few people that have moved from the UK to Texas.
Yeah, I thought it was booming. We'll see if let us know in the comments if you disagree with this list, by the way.
On a lot of videos, I've said what a great state Texas is, and it is. There's a lot of people moving there because it's a great state. The taxes aren't killing people. The home prices have been reasonable. They don't have a ton of crime compared to other states. Texas is a great place to live right now. I don't know how much longer that's going to be. I think they're going to be a victim of their own success, much like Oregon and California have been in the past. As people start moving into the place, it's going to get more expensive. They also have a lot of political issues going on right now that, you know, half the population think is great and the other half aren't cool with what's going on in the state. Now, this happens in every single state in the union. I mean, every country too. You can't please everyone, but I think in Texas, it's a little amplified and it's going to get more and more amplified. I have a lot of friends that have moved to Texas, Army friends and even friends I went to high school with in California. They've moved to Texas in the last 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. A lot of them are saying Texas is changing and they're not digging it. And it's not just them. A lot of native-born Texans don't really like what's going on either. Not the political part, the influx of people and how their state is changing. This is going to cause more friction as time goes on, I promise you. If you do look at the stats of where they rank when it comes to crime, they're ranked 33rd in the nation, which isn't terrible. Healthcare, they're ranked in the 40s, which is terrible. And their schools are ranked 33rd in the nation. The big saving grace for them right now, their economy, they're 15th best in the nation. So to be clear, Texas is great now. I just don't think it's going to maintain its greatness for much longer. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, it's a great state. Number 9, Oklahoma. When you look at Oklahoma, they have a truckload of problems. They have some good things too. Their people are great. Love the people of Oklahoma. They're always decent, friendly, and welcoming. That's been my experience. If you had a different experience, sorry. One of the biggest problems in Oklahoma is the healthcare system. They're always ranked towards the bottom. I saw one report where they're ranked 47th in the nation. I saw another one where they're ranked 48th. So they're always towards the bottom, which really sucks because a lot of retirees and senior citizens live there. And if you don't know, as you get older, you're going to need good health care. When you look at their economy, it's not doing great either. They have a lot of jobs, but they don't have a lot of good paying jobs. When you don't have a lot of good paying jobs, this of course leads to more poverty and more crime. When people don't have money, they start committing crimes. Oklahoma is ranked 41st.
Don't do that, by the way.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. I don't know what you can do, because I know it's hard for everyone at the moment, but don't commit crimes. Try your best not to.
When it comes to crime, 90% of that crime's obviously going to be found in the bigger cities. Their smaller towns are decent places to live. One saving grace is Oklahoma does have a lower cost of living. So, I mean, if you're bringing a job, it might be a great option. But I think Oklahoma's bad outweighs its good right now. Number 8, Kentucky. Kentucky always seems to be a medalist when it comes to the poverty Olympics. Kentucky has never been considered a really good state to move to when it comes to employment, unless of course you make whiskey or you coach basketball teams. They've always had a poverty level that's well above the national average. They've had serious opioid and drug addiction problems throughout the state since forever, and their health care is normally towards the bottom of the barrel as well. They do have one positive that I find strange, because they're one of the leaders in the whole opioid crisis and every other drug you can imagine, which is a crime, and there's a lot of problems that come with it. But Kentucky has sort of a low crime rate compared to other states, which is good. But still, their economy and their schools are always in the top 10 when it comes to the worst. This is another state that the jobs they do have...
On the crime rate, obviously, it's a shame about the drug thing. Hopefully that kind of solves up.
Yeah.
Is the crime rate... the hospital, sorry, I was meant to say... that can't be done prices, can it? That's got to be done quality of doctors and stuff like that.
Yeah, quality of the care, probably.
Because I was thinking prices are quite high everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if it's quality of care, then you don't want to be near the bottom of the list.
Not if you're paying similar to people who are getting good healthcare.
Yeah, definitely. And with the crime rate, you'd expect with the higher drug usage, more crime rate.
You would expect that.
But, yeah, there you go.
Maybe they're chill ones.
Yeah.
tend to be on the low paying side. And that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So yeah, I went and moved there in 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, I don't know, all the way up to maybe 2044. Maybe they'll turn it around
Very
by
random.
then.
That's long.
Very
Number
random,
7,
though.
Arkansas. We've talked about the phenomenon that is the northwest corner of Arkansas many times in this channel.
Stunning
If you
again.
don't know, this
They've
is
all
your first
been
time
very
tuning
close
in,
together as
Arkansas.
well.
Yeah, they've all been around like reason so far. We're kind of working our way up, aren't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why.
In
but
the middle as well.
it'd be interesting to see if we stay in that trend or if we branch out. If California's number one, then we'll branch out.
Sucks as a state in so many ways. I could do 5 videos on it, except for the northwest corner where you got Springdale, Rogers, and Fayetteville. That seems to be pulling it together. If they could just spread some of that to the rest of the state, it would be great. So I say Arkansas is not a good place to move, but 3/4 of it isn't a good place to move.
Depends
2
where you
cities
go.
that are considered by most to be the worst cities in the United States are Pine Bluff and Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas has been this way since forever, and they don't show any signs of changing their ways. Number 6, Alaska. If you love
Actually,
the
I always forget about Alaska on these. Do you know when we think about where to go? I just think of a contiguous US. But I guess it makes sense. It's so remote. Weather conditions are awful as well. Climate's really high over there as well, isn't it? So it makes sense.
Doors and nature is your thing, and you don't see past how beautiful landscape is, then
It is
forget
beautiful.
everything I'm about to say, because it really won't affect you. Alaska is one of the most beautiful states we have. Downside is
so
they don't
nice.
have a lot of jobs. They have a lot of drug issues and a ton of poverty. They are one of our states that have been losing residents over the last handful of years. Since the 1940s, Alaska has gained double digits on their population. Started off in 1940 with a 22% increase, and then in 1950, 77, 1960 census, it was 75, and then it stayed in the 30s for quite some time. This 2020 census, they only gained 3%. With the last couple years, like 18, 19, they had actually lost population.
Wow.
And in the
It's
coming
going down.
years, I'm sure that's going to
good.
continue. They'll just keep losing population. But Alaska just doesn't have the jobs to maintain the people they do have, so people are flooding out. It's a great state if you love the outdoors and you're, let's say, retired and have checks coming in the mail. You
Oh,
don't
I
have to
can
worry
imagine.
about
Love
getting a
that.
job. It's a great
What,
state.
just checks coming in the mail? Just chilling. And it would be, to be fair. You like the outdoors, you can go on your
Yeah,
snowmobile.
exactly. It'd be nice.
But I get what you mean. If you're younger, you're more secluded away from everything else, more remote. It makes sense you'd want to move. But
Does.
maybe retirement plans.
Maybe.
I'd prefer somewhere hot though, personally. I want the heat.
Yeah.
I just prefer the heat.
I don't think I could deal with the cold. It means nice for a holiday.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely visit it one day, but I'm more of a warm person.
But the problems they do have, I don't see changing over the next decade or so. So it's definitely not a good place you want to move to in 2022 unless you fit the criteria of not needing a job and you love the outdoors. Number 5, West Virginia. This one breaks my heart. I have some really good friends in West Virginia, but I know they know the situation that's going on in West Virginia. West Virginia has a buttload of problems, including loss of their coal industry, the opioid crisis, people flooding out of there like it's on fire, their infrastructure is falling apart, but they have gotten better. They're just not where they need to be to make them a very desirable place to live. They are sort of like Alaska, though. They're a great place to be if you like to be outdoors and you're not really relying on getting a good job when you move to that state. I've said a couple times in recent videos that I think West Virginia's future is in tourism. I mean, they have amazing landscapes and things to do out in the wilderness. Every time I look on the news or something, they're talking about bringing coal mining jobs back to West Virginia. I don't think it's a thing. I don't think it'll ever happen. Coal powered this country for a lot of years, but most places have moved past coal. Am I saying they should just shut down all the coal mines? No, there's still a need for it. Nothing like it was 10, 20, 30 years ago, but they still need coal. Past its natural beauty, West Virginia has 3 positives that are undeniable. The people are amazing, the low cost of living, and the low cost of housing. Just don't consider moving there if you need a job and you don't already have one lined up.
And the song.
Number 4.
And the song.
I'm the song boys for it. I guess you got a positive of, if you ever work from home, 2022, now working from home some more, you can move to one of these states which potentially costs less, keep the same price of your job if you work from home. Yeah. So that's something to think about nowadays.
You could be onto something.
You know what I mean? So these places aren't, with the low-paying jobs, not write-offs if you can work from home, from another state.
If you can make it work.
If you can make it work, definitely. So think about that one.
Or Mississippi. Mississippi's on the list again for suckage. You know why you shouldn't move to Mississippi? Mississippi has been on a downward slide since, I don't know, the Civil War. What's come out of there that's been good in the last 200 years? Elvis? To be fair to Mississippi, the dollar sign and the padded toilet seat were both invented in the Magnolia State. If you do move to Mississippi, you will find a lot of really cool things. Low cost living, low housing, a lot of day drinking, and friendly people. Even the non-day drinkers, they're pretty friendly too. But epidemic level poverty is what really brings Mississippi down, and it shows no sign of letting up. That's why I wouldn't move there in 2022, or, I don't know, again, like that other state, maybe in 2044. If you look at where Mississippi ranks compared to other states, they're the absolute worst when it comes to healthcare. The state's economy is 3rd from the bottom, and their school system usually ranks in the 40s as well. But their universities are pretty good. I'm just talking like high school on down. Number 3, New Mexico. Exactly.
You think you're trying to get a subject where you're like, alright, sweet, I can cling on to that, that's good, but didn't really have much, did it?
The Land of Enchantment is another frequent customer when it comes to suckage videos. If you do just look at the standard stats and rankings for New Mexico, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. When it comes to crime, they're the 2nd worst in the nation, ranked 49th, along with education, 49th. And when it comes to their economy, they're 47th. Their healthcare isn't even setting any records. They're number 34 when it comes to healthcare. And they've been this way for a very long time, and they show no signs of changing it either. New Mexico's another state that's been in double digits every single census for growth until 2020, where they got 2.8% growth, compared to past years where it was 13%, 20%, 16%, 28%, 25%, 67% at one point. Now they're down to 2.8%. When you don't have a lot of options for people, they start leaving the state, and the amount of people moving in slows down to a trickle, like New Mexico. A couple years ago, I did a video on New Mexico and how bad it was. It was top 10 reasons not to move there, and a local news station contacted me and wanted to put it on the news one night. They did, and what was incredible about it was they tried to dispute it, but they kind of agreed with everything I said. And they kind of took up the attitude of, well, we're working on it. I brought up this little piece of trivia about New Mexico in a recent video, but it's a good way to explain the current situation this state is in. Approximately 75% of the roads in New Mexico are unpaved. The reason for that is they have a lot of open space with nothing going on in those open spaces. No giant industries are moving in there, nothing like that. So is New Mexico a great place to move in 2022? I don't think so.
There you go.
Number 2, Alabama. If you don't know...
Before getting to number 2, by the way, our 2 guesses are still on the table.
They are.
So one of us isn't even on the list. Well,
Who's
both
gonna
of us
win?
might not be on the list. Who's going to win? I might have got this one.
Much about Alabama. Looking at the stats on this one are kind of important. It kind of tells you what's going on in this state. When it comes to crime, Alabama is ranked 45th in the nation. When it comes to their economy, they're ranked 45th in the nation. When it comes to their healthcare, they're ranked 45th in the nation. When it comes to
They're
their schools,
consistent.
they're ranked
Yeah.
50th. They have the absolute worst schools in the nation. If you're really not sure how all that works, look at it this way. Number 1 is good, number 50 sucks. And between 45 and 50, there's not much of a difference. Alabama, like all southern states, is filled to the brim with decent people. My opinion, I just think the decisions and the moves that their government makes, the state government, is what really has been screwing Alabama since the creation of the United States. Again, though, I don't see anything changing in Alabama in the next couple decades.
Before we get on to number 1 then, I kind of think that a lot of these are places where if you would live there, you probably won't notice it. You absolutely love your state and it's awesome. It's not exactly a worse place to live. But it's one where if you're moving somewhere
And you're
and
looking
you go,
at the options.
I've got an option, you go, okay, well, this is 45th, 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 50th. Or I can go somewhere where it's 2nd, 10th, 19th
you're
or
gonna
something.
go
You know what I
there,
mean?
aren't you?
You're going to go there because you've got no connection to that
Yeah.
place. Obviously, weather and stuff that's going to play a part, which it has. But you've got no connection.
No, so yeah.
But I think if you've got a connection, you already live there, you might not move out of it because of them stats, because you love the place.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Let us know in the comments if you agree with that, because it is just a bit of bashing on the stats.
Yeah, it is basically.
But like I say, if we looked at it, we'd go off stats pretty much, wouldn't we? Because you haven't got that connection, whereas you probably wouldn't live there. Whereas if you've got the connection, you would.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. I think that makes sense.
he does.
Let's see what number 1 is.
All right,
Subscribe
before
here.
we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Louisiana. That's right, the Pelican
Poor
State
Louisiana, by the way. But
Yeah, why are you so excited?
I nailed it. I'm just happy I nailed it. Poor Louisiana.
You cheated.
made it to the number
haven't.
1 spot. They share the same problems Alabama, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Kentucky have, and most of those things aren't good. Louisiana has 2 of the most violent cities in the United States, New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Along with that, you've got Shreveport, which is horrible, and then dozens of small towns that have poverty rates that can be best described as criminal.
Wow.
Not for the people, for their state government. Louisiana is often brought up in the conversation when you're talking about the most corrupt state governments. They've had so many people go to jail for all sorts of political shenanigans.
Wow.
So where does Louisiana rank compared to other states? Well, overall, they're ranked number 50th. Their crime, 50th. Economy, 49th. Healthcare is 45th. And their schools are ranked 48th. This is another state that's been like this forever, and they show no signs of changing how they're going to do things. I mean, Mississippi always used to be the bottom of the barrel, but Mississippi, even though it's not great, has gotten a little bit better and moved past places like Louisiana and Alabama. The main reason is their crime's gotten better. I mean, outside Jackson, Mississippi, the crime rate throughout Mississippi has gotten a lot lower, where in Louisiana and Alabama, it's actually gotten worse. I mean, when Mississippi starts showing you how you should do things, you got some problems.
Poor Mississippi as well, by the way, because he gives them a compliment, but it's just a backhanded compliment. You know?
It's like you're still crap, but
Yeah, but a little bit better than
Yeah.
these. Smash that like button if you enjoyed it, guys. A bit brutal. If you live in these states, please let us know your experience. I imagine they're going to be a lot better because you live there. You're not looking at the stats.
Yeah,
You've got that
different.
connection, haven't you? Like my hometown, Rotherham in the UK. I'm sure on the stats, it's awful. You probably don't want to move there, but I've got the connection there, so I love it as well. Smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button and watch the video.
have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.